All right, let's chew this bone over a little more with Dan Cannon, former Battleground State Director for the Harris-Walz campaign, and Jessica Anderson, Sentinel Action Fund President, former Office of Management and Budget Associate Director during President Trump's first term. So here's what Ken Martin said about David Hogg yesterday. Listen here.
I understand what he's trying to do. As I've said to him, if you want to challenge incumbents, you're more than free to do that, but just not as an officer of the DNC, because our job is to be neutral arbiters.
So Hogg, after that, says, I'm not doing anything that's at odds with the broader mission of the DNC. So who's right, Dan?
The chairman is correct here. Ken's doing a great job.
You'll defer to the chairman on this one.
I will. He's doing an excellent job, John. And there's 2 points I want to make. One is that there's a very good debate to have about the brand of the party, about the kind of candidates, about who can connect and cut through with voters in a way that we did not do as well as we could have in 2024. But what Ken is saying, which is spot on, is if you're in the party, if you're in the apparatus, you can't be the player and the referee. And Democrats got in big trouble in 2016 by the implication that we're putting our thumb on the scale for a candidate. I don't think it happened the way it was implicated to have happened. But what they want to do is remain neutral, remain the arbitrators of just a fair process. That's got to be how we're perceived. Now, separately, if David Hogg wants to go recruit candidates, find young folks that can get into different spaces and connect with voters, that's excellent, but not as the DNC vice chair.
Right. Here's what Hogg said about why he's doing what he's doing. Listen here.
There certainly are some who are failing to meet the moment. And no, it's time for them not to seek re-election, whether that's because they're, too old, for example, or if that's because they just aren't able to meet it. Because, frankly, unfortunately, sucking is something that is not limited to age.
Sucking is not something limited to age. But, the Republican Party went through this. Remember when Eric Cantor got primaried?
I remember it well.
He was the leader, and boom, suddenly he's out. But it wasn't done with the imprimatur of the RNC.
Well, and I think even if people want to rebuke David Hogg, the impact of what he has said and what he's put into motion within the Democratic Party is already at play. You had your fourth of the old guard of the Democratic Party, Dick Durbin, resigning this week. He's 80 years old. Is it because he sucks or is it because he's old, right? David Hogg would have an answer there. And so what I actually think is happening is when you see these retirements, it's actually the activist wing of the DNC pushing out the old guard. They're doing it in safe blue states. They're not doing it in battleground states. Yeah. So they're trying to purify their party. I think they're making way.
They're trying to get rid of Pelosi. They're trying to get rid of Schakowsky.
Schumer, well, he even last. They're trying to make way for someone more radical, more liberal, like an AOC. Her numbers are up. Her personality is up. She's on the road. This is what they're making way for.
Which is the perfect entree to my next point, which is about AOC and this video, which a lot of people are taking as a soft launch for a presidential run in 2028. Watch here.
That is what each and every one of you represent today. Small miracles of faith in ourselves, in each other, and in the refusal to give up.
All right, so that video was done at a rally in Idaho, of all places, saying, hey, it's not the conservative bastion that you thought it was. There's a lot of Democrats here as well. Is AOC laying the groundwork for a potential national run? Bernie Sanders seems willing to pass the socialist torch to her.
I do think that AOC is effective in getting out there and energizing folks and reaching people that perhaps Democrats did not reach very well in 2024. I wonder, though, John, if she can reach the moderates that she needs to win a race. I also wonder how she'll do in a primary context when I know we like to talk about the liberal base, right, that she's speaking to the liberal base. The real base of Democratic primary voters are often black women who are not as liberal as some of the stuff that's coming out of AOC or Bernie Sanders. I'm not certain that she would do well in that primary, but she's certainly laying the groundwork for something.
Yeah, I want to switch real quick and give you a chance to talk about Stacey Abrams, because there's talk that she may throw her hat in the ring for the gubernatorial contest in the state of Georgia one more time. Here's what Cody Hall, who's an advisor to the current Governor Brian Kemp, said about that. Every Georgia Democrat is scared to death that Abrams runs again because they know they can't beat her in the primary, but she's also probably their worst candidate in the general. So what do you think, Jessica? Is third time the charm, or 3 times a loser, 3 strikes you're out? I mean,
3 strikes you're out for Stacey Abrams. Honestly, my first question is, how is she going to pay for this campaign? She's under investigations all over the place.
Well, there's all that money for the EPA right now.
That's right. She's under investigation. DOJ has just identified waste, fraud, and abuse out of her organization in Georgia, and so she's going to have a financial problem, which means she's going to have to go to in-state and national Democratic donors to get them excited about her running for a third time in Georgia. Georgia. Georgia is going to be the focus of all of our minds in 2026. You have a Senate race, you have a governor's race, and her getting in, I think, actually helps Republicans in the long haul, because we all remember what she did in 2020, in 2022. And if she goes again, we're going to fight it.
Real quick final word to you, Dan. Are you looking forward to her running?
Stacey Abrams should get a lot of credit for building the infrastructure that put Georgia on the map for Democrats several cycles early, but she should not run.
Right.
So we're agreed.
There you go. Nice to end the week on agreement. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.